Welcome back to the SportsBruiserz Podcast, episode 10 of the series. You have not seen the previous 9 episodes. I'll leave a link down below in the playlist for YouTube if you're watching, as well as Spotify. The previous 9 episodes are listed on there. Go take a look if you missed one to catch up on as well. If you enjoyed what you've listened to, follow me on all platforms, on YouTube, Spotify, as well as Twitter, where I give you my thoughts, opinions, as well as reports, breaking news, and updates, as well as for YouTube side things, my shorts, where I give you quick information on there as well. Go take a follow if you like what you hear on this one. And for episode 10, what we're talking about is the conference championship recap between the Broncos and Patriots, Seahawks and Rams, and then segueing into my Super Bowl 60 preview on February 8th, 6:30 p.m., the game. And also to changing it up with basketball, we'll talk about Giannis and his future as well, a potential buyer for a blockbuster trade for Giannis too. We'll talk about a little bit of his future with Milwaukee and the team that has come out and is going to make a major push for Giannis, as well at the end, doing just a very quick recap around the sports world of what happened thus far. Now getting into the conference championship recap, again, this was at least for the AFC side of things, lackluster, very disappointing. The Patriots do come on top in this one, 10-7, and in terms of the visuals, a great winter game there, snowing pretty heavily, but very lackluster to say the least. The Patriots take the win, 10-7 over the Jarrett Stidham Denver Broncos, and go to Super Bowl 60. It's the first time since 2018 the team will be heading back there for the big game. And those box scores, I said everything was it was bland. Drake May, 10 of 21, 86 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 receptions, was sacked 5 times, had a QBR of 62.6, pass rating a 58.8. And you look at for the running game as well, Ramondre Stevenson was your leading rusher for the Patriots, 25 carries, 71 yards, 0 touchdowns. Drake May, 10 for 65 and a touchdown, the only touchdown scorer for the Patriots, as well as getting the big game-winning first down to seal the Patriots win that had the Super Bowl 60. And that was pretty much about it, especially in the second half when the weather was starting to get bad. The Patriots really just played conservative. Not saying they weren't trying to score, but really towards the end, I would say specifically, they were just being ultra conservative because they knew the Broncos couldn't do anything on offense. They were not afraid of Jarrett Stidham. They were not afraid of that offense at all. And all Drake May and this team had to do was just take care of the football, trust the defense, do its job, and that's what happened. Again, Drake May statistically was horrible. Again, 10 of 21, 86 yards. Your leading receiver was Matt Collins for 2 for 51, as well as Stephon Diggs, 5 for 17, finally making the Super Bowl there after a couple heartbreaks in the conference championship with the Vikings as well as the Bills as well. So you look at that, and again, nothing jumps out at you. It was just a very, if you want to say, old school type of game there for the Patriots and what they did there. They did enough. Personally for me, if Bo Nix was in this game, I think the Broncos would win this game. And certainly if Bo Nix was in this game, they would not be playing offensively the way they did. There would be a lot more pressure on them to do something because Bo Nix has shown you this year that he finds ways to win, especially late in games or in the fourth quarter, that he can step up and be better than what he can be. And throughout the previous quarters, where maybe he's a little bit lackluster, but he kind of take it to another level in the fourth quarter. I'm not going to say he's Caleb Williams-esque, but certainly can play better and find ways to win. He is, he has that mentality, that mindset, and no question. Again, if Bo Nix did not get hurt in the Bills game in the division round, I do believe that the Broncos would be in the Super Bowl right now against Seattle. But instead, we had Jarrett Stidham going to the Broncos side of things. Jarrett Stidham, 17 of 31, 133, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, was sacked 3 times. QBR 19.6, pass rating 63 even. Your leading rusher was R.J. Harvey, 13 carries for 37 yards. Jarrett Stidham, 4 for 23. Your leading receivers was Marvin Mims, 4 for 62. R.J. Harvey as well was your second leading receiver, 4 for 22. Evan Ingram, 2 of 19. And the list goes on. Courtland Sutton, not too much of a factor. Had the only touchdown, the only points really for the Broncos. One touchdown, but only had 3 catches for 17 yards. And after that, nothing too else from everyone else. You had Pat Bryant for 1 catch, Elijah Moore, the former Bill, for 1 catch too. And for the kicking game, it was brutal for both sides. There's no question for that. It was brutal, and that was really what came down to the wire for that one. What really made things happen. You look at Lutz, 0 for 2 for his field goal attempts, was of course 1 for 1 for extra points, as well as Andy for the Patriots, 1 of 3 for the Patriots for field goal attempts, and of course 1 for 1 for extra points. And that was really all came down to. If you really want to just look at the kicker matchup, that's what it came down to. The Patriots kicker just made 1 field goal. Broncos could not. And I don't want to put it all on Waltz for this one, because certainly the offense had to do more. I know there wasn't too much of a high expectation, a high ceiling for what we were expected for Jarrett Stidham, who has not played in a long time, stepping in a big-time situation at home, conference championship, no pressure. If you lose, you go home. If you win, you go to the Super Bowl. No pressure at all. And who knows what happened if they found a way to win and he has to go to Super Bowl 60 against Seattle. There's a chance it might be what happened the last time these two matched up, when they got blown out by Legion of Boom and that offense by Russell Wilson. So maybe it wasn't. Maybe, I don't know. It sucks. Of course, you always want to go there to the Super Bowl. You want to be there. But I just don't know how it worked out for the Broncos, especially again with Jarrett Stidham and how lethal that Seattle defense is. And we'll get to that in a second, going to the NFC Conference Championship game. But I don't know if it would have worked out either way. So in terms of a competitive standpoint, the Broncos right now would be better for that. But again, it is. Certainly the Broncos or the Patriots have given criticism for their quote unquote easy path to the Super Bowl. If you kind of take a step back here and look at the path that they've taken to here, you look at the wild card, 16-3 against the Chargers. Drake May throughout the playoffs has had turnovers, especially in the wild card and divisional round. But you look at the opponents, their Chargers. People, they've only scored 3 points in that game there. Of course, there's a lot of criticism if you want to put it on Justin Herbert. Offensive line was horrible. But if you want to go off the history of Herbert and what he's done in previous playoff performances, looks like kind of an easy game for them as well. You go into the divisional round with the Texans that should have lost in the wild card round if the defense just didn't go off in the fourth quarter. C.J. Stroud was absolutely horrible in that one. He had four interceptions. If I can get to those stats real quick to give you the recap: 20 of 47, one touchdown, four interceptions. Yeah, pretty easy for the Patriots. Maybe you could knock them a little bit for not scoring more points in 28, but again, they did their job to move on. And then you had the very bland, very underwhelming conference championship game, 10-7. So you look at that, and some of the quarterbacks. The best one, no doubt, was Herbert. But even though, again, you can question his playoff performances and what he's done there at the biggest moments. And yes, it is a very lackluster path. But at the end of the day, the Patriots can't control who they face. They face who they are given, and give them credit for Mike Vrabel, what he's done with his team in year one with the Patriots to lead this team from mediocrity last year to now. From Gerard Mayo last year. Now his first year they're going to the Super Bowl. Exceeded expectations right now, no question about that. And for Drake May in his second year to lead his team to the Super Bowl is immense is immense, no question. And who knows? I can imagine how Patriots fans will react if they do win the Super Bowl. I mean, it might be far-fetched to say, but there's already going to be comparisons to Tom Brady. Not saying they're saying he's going to be Tom Brady, but got another quarterback who started relatively early in his career, has already gone to a Super Bowl and could potentially win one. And again, if he does win, who knows what the legacy is going to be for Drake May and how they talk about him. But certainly no doubt it is impressive, as well as he's in the conversation for the MVP. Between him, I think it really just comes down between him and Matthew Stafford. I think Stafford will get the nod, even though Stafford kind of struggled late in the season before going to the playoffs. But again, Drake May has a huge opportunity to have a great season where he could potentially win the MVP and could win the Super Bowl all in the second year and be, certainly in a better spot accolades wise as opposed to other quarterbacks we question that have not gone to the Super Bowl yet, such as Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and so forth. So again, it's for legacy wise, for in early in his career, it's been great for them. And from Mike Vrabel, he's done an amazing job for the Patriots. He should have never gotten fired from Tennessee, and you see how dysfunctional they are there. Now they hired their new coaching staff with Robert Saleh now under the helm as the head coach. We'll see what happens with that. I do like that they brought in Brian Daboll, but still, it has been polar opposites since since Mike Vrabel has left, post Mike Vrabel for the Tennessee Titans. We've seen how it's been with Callahan, absolutely horrible, and we'll see what happens to do in 2026. But when the Patriots first hired Vrabel, I loved it. I think he's a great coach. I thought this Patriots were going to be a dangerous team going into 2025, and they showed that. They did. Early on, they were behind the Bills. They won that critical game in Week 5, and they really never looked back. The Bills slowly climbed their way back up to make it somewhat competitive, somewhat of a race towards the end, but the Broncos, and not only the Bills self-implode more so in that Eagles game, but even then, it was pretty, a done deal that they were going to close it out. It was all in the Patriots' hands at that moment. And again, really after since week 5, they never looked back of being worried about losing the division. They won it. They steal it from the Bills after the Bills have won it the previous few seasons, and now in the position they are. So give tons of credit for Mike Vrabel. Certainly should be up there for head coach of the year of what he did there. Amazing. For the Broncos, there was talks about, are they fakes? Are they really legit? Again, I think no question why I keep saying over and over again, this game would have gone differently if Bo Nix did not get hurt. And they would have made it to the Super Bowl, in my mind. There's no question about that. Jarrett Stidham, they were just handicapped. I mean, as soon as you heard the announcement after the Bills game that he was out for the rest of the playoffs, that it was a done deal. There was no way that Jarrett Stidham was going to beat this Patriots team, especially that defense. And they do have flaws here and there in some areas, but the Patriots were going to lock down and stop Stidham, and they did that. The Broncos defense did the best they could. They held them to 10 points. And if I told you before going to the game, hey, the Patriots are only going to score 10 points, the Broncos defense hold them to that, I'm sure the vast majority, if not all Broncos fans, feel like we're going to win this game. No, you only score 7 points because of Stidham and how the offense was. And then because with that, Lombardi, the offensive coordinator, gets fired. If he gets scapegoated or whatever the reason may be, it looks presumably that passing coordinator Davis Webb might be promoted to OC as of right now. Well, who knows with that guy? Not official yet, but it looks like that's the direction it may be going to. But still, with Sean Payton, what he's done there for the Broncos too, it's been amazing. And what he's done with Bo Nix and Bo Nix in his first 2 years has been great. Making the playoffs, his rookie season, and now this year being number 1 seed, certainly yes, it is a good accomplishment in his career that made people question how he was going to be going to the NFL coming out of Oregon at that point there. So for both these guys, the same draft class, great seasons all around for Bo Nix and Drake May. We'll see what happens with the Patriots moving into Super Bowl 60. Now, the more exciting game, the more interesting one, the one that was actually competitive, was the Seahawks and Rams. Seahawks take this one in a close one, 31-27. And, to come out truthfully, I had a video I made weeks ago for my preview. I had the Rams winning. I did have the Rams. I'm sorry, I don't know if I made this the video or I posted it, but no, I think I did post it. I'm sorry, I posted it on Twitter. I picked the Rams to win the Super Bowl. I did. I thought with Matthew Stafford, with Puka Nacua, with Devontae Adams, and the offense and the defense that was good enough to get it done with Sean McVay, I thought they were going to go back to the Super Bowl for Sean McVay's 3rd Super Bowl appearance in this one. It certainly would have had a great opportunity, regardless of winning it. If it was Denver or New England, I would have gave them the best opportunity either way to do that, even with Bo Nix being healthy too. And the Seahawks finally would have win. And give credit to Sam Darnold, because I made in my last video, podcast episode about my divisional round preview as well as my divisional round recap, conference championship preview. I said Sam Darnold had to step up. He did good enough. He did enough to win in the divisional round, but he needed to elevate more to beat the Los Angeles Rams. He needed to. He did the bare minimum, or he did what was asked against the 49ers, and they blew him out. That was not even close at all. But I said he needs to do a little bit more, and boy, did he do a lot. 25-36, 346, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, was sacked 3 times, QBR 82.9, pass rating 127.8. Kenneth Walker had a solid game too, 19-62, 1 touchdown. Jackson Smith-Njigba once again has a signature performance like he's had this season, 10 of 153 and 1 touchdown. Rashid Shaheed only had 1 catch, but it was a big one, 1 of 51. Kenneth Walker did help in the passing game as well, 4 for 49. Cooper Kupp, 4 for 36 and 1 touchdown against his former team. And that pretty much wraps up around there. A couple other people have made 1 or 2 catches too, but Sam Darnold, what a performance by him. And the throws he made, especially deep downfield, it was amazing. And I was shocked. And there was certainly a lot of pressure on him going to this game. And there's going to be pressure too, of course, about the Super Bowl. If he's going to crack, can he get it done? Can he finish the season? But this was such a big moment for him. The fact that he dueled Matthew Stafford and he played amazing against a great Rams team when people kind of criticized him about his tenure with the Vikings and how that playoff performance was, and kind of those games before that, and then the regular season leading up to that. Is the pressure going to get to him? Even with him, answering those questions in the divisional round, people are like, okay, but how is he going to be in this certainly a much better team with the Rams? And again, he answered that perfectly, took care of the football, made some great plays, and played phenomenal. No doubt about that. We look at the Rams side here. Matthew Stafford, the potential MVP of the season, 22 of 35, 374, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, was only sacked once. QBR of 81.5, passer rating of 127.6. Your leading rusher was Blake Corum, 9 of 55 for 0 touchdowns. Kyron Williams, 10 of 39 for 0 touchdowns. Stafford, 2 of 16. And Puka Nacua also had a rush for 4 yards. Your leading receivers, too. He had, not talking about just about the quarterbacks, but the duels at wide receiver between him and Jack Smith-Njigba. Puka Nacua, 9 of 165 and 1 touchdown. Devontae Adams, your touchdown leading receiver, was 4 of 89 for 1 touchdown. And you have Parkinson, 3 of 62. Kind of look at the passing game as well. You also had Corum and Williams helping the passing game as well. Corum 3 of 24, Williams 2 of 22 and a touchdown. Tyler Higbee only had 1 catch for 0 touchdowns, and that wraps up the rest of the list there. And again, for the Rams, I had high hopes for them, and it looked very shaky in the wild card. It did against the Panthers. I thought the Panthers were going to pull up a massive upset there. Matthew Stafford finds a way late in that game to get the touchdown, and the defense locks down Bryce Young to get the win there. And and it looked again, same thing too, shaky with the Bears. It looked like they were in a position to do like Caleb Williams on a 4th down, makes a insane throw in the corner of the end zone to tie it up. Again, defense steps up, does its job, and they kick the inevitable game-winning field goal to put themselves in this point there. And again, even with those shaky performances in the wild card more so, and a little bit in the divisional round, I still thought this was a team that was going to go all the way and won it. I think, again, what I talked about in the offense, they have an MVP level quarterback, Super Bowl champion. They have great wide receivers, and what Devontae Adams did, especially in the touchdown category. Puka Nacua, we know he is one of the top wide receivers in the league, as well as the running game too, and what the defense they have on that side of the ball. I thought that was the best team all around in the NFL, at least certainly the teams remaining. Seattle is a close second, but certainly they give the slight edge to Matthew Stafford at the quarterback position. But even then, again, Sam Darnold, I can't stop raving about him. He has shut a lot of people up. And you can really just go, even if you want to take, knock him a little bit for what he did last year in the playoffs, he did an amazing job with the Vikings. He did. And I might make a separate video about this, kind of go more in depth about, was it a huge mistake for the Vikings to get rid of Sam Darnold? Now, I made previous videos about that, like at least 2 or 3, and I said I have no problem with them bringing back, but I feel like you should bring back at least in a short-term deal, not a long-term deal, because you've shown that you trade up to get JJ McCarthy, and it's crazy to just move off him without knowing who he is or how he's played, how he's going to be. Again, I had no problem with Sam Darnold coming back, but I thought at least a franchise tag or at least a short-term deal. Of course, Sam Darnold's not going to do that. He wants to get his money. He wants to be in a place where he knows he's the future, and he took a chance. And I was a little bit wary on Sam Darnold going to Seattle. I did not think he was going to replicate what he did. And statistically, it was a little bit down, but he did lead him to a number 1 seed. He had another 14-1 season for Seattle like he did with Minnesota, and what he's done was phenomenal. It is. Give credit to Sam Darnold. It's awesome to see back in the 2018 draft where he was, how far he was, fallen at that point there, how bad he was with the Jets, seeing ghosts, and of course in that primetime game, in the infamous one against the Patriots. And it just to see a guy like that who was so broken, who was so just down on himself because of being with the Jets and how he played, and kind of going a little bit, getting a little bit better with Carolina, and then just taking off with the last 2 with the Vikings and the Seahawks, but it really started with with San Francisco. When he was the backup, he started to learn the right way, the proper way of being in a great organization, a stable organization, and then goes to the Vikings, which again, I love Kevin O'Connell. I think he's a great head coach. You see what he does there, and stepping up with JJ McCarthy, having a season-ending injury in the preseason, and then having a lot of weight on his shoulders for Seattle with the money they gave him. Decent money, of course. Not saying it's amazing, it's a ton, but decent amount of money for Sam Darnold, and to go and to lead this team his first year to Seattle to the Super Bowl is phenomenal, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he turned it around. Who would have thought that Sam Darnold was going to be the first quarterback in that draft class that features, again, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield to make the Super Bowl? Seeing that Allen's had a couple cracks at the conference championship. Seeing that Lamar a couple years ago had a crack at the conference championship. And that we're talking about Sam Darnold being the first one to make it. And if you want to be technical, he did make it with San Francisco, but at least being the starter for a team. It's amazing for him. What a great turnaround story from another quarterback that, had to wait a little bit to bloom and to blossom and to be successful. give credit to him. So I'm very happy for Sam Darnold, and no question, me being a Bills fan, I'm not rooting for the Patriots. I'm rooting for Seattle. I want to see the Seattle Seahawks blow out the Patriots, and we'll get to that real quick, relatively soon in my Super Bowl 60 preview. But again, overall, this was an amazing game, and no doubt at this point here, it was. I really thought the Rams were going to pull it out there. I thought they were going to find the way, but Sam Darnold did his thing. He played far better than I expected him to. I thought the Rams are going to rattle him a little bit, at least to a point where they're going to cause one turnover, and that could have been the deciding factor for the Rams going to Super Bowl 60 against the Patriots. But the Seahawks defense, even though they get 27 points, they can get after you, and that's going to be very interesting to see how it's going to be in the Super Bowl 60. And now, speaking about that, we're going to segue into the preview of that. Again, between the Patriots and the Seahawks, like we talked about, it is a rematch of Super Bowl 49, one of the best Super Bowls we've ever seen played. Not just in recent history, but I think in NFL history, it was amazing for that one. Of course, we have the infamous goal line interception by Malcolm Butler. Why didn't they run the ball there? And the 1 yard line with Marshawn Lynch. And now we get part two of this. I don't think it's going to be as good between Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Legion of Boom, Gronkowski. Don't have the star names on there, but I still think it's going to be a great game all around here between Drake May and Sam Darnold. I know it's probably just off of the quarterback names that doesn't sound exciting at all, as opposed to, like I said, Russell Wilson and Tom Brady, but it's still going to be a great game. The teams all around are great. The Seahawks defense and what McDonald's done there in his short time with the Seahawks in his third year has been amazing. It has been. That is a ferocious elite defense that can get after you, can cause turnovers, and can make things happen. And Sam Darnold, give credit to Kubiak on what he's done there. You look at Jackson Smith-Njigba, the league-leading receiver, and what he's done there. Sam Darnold, great season all around. I do like the trade to get Rashid Shaheed alongside him. Cooper Kupp had a down season, definitely disappointing, but has made plays here and there. I think he's certainly a solid wide receiver at this point now in the playoffs. He has experience. He knows what to do. Super Bowl MVP, of course, with the Rams. So I like the makings of the wide receiving group there. You have the experience with Cooper Kupp as well as the explosiveness with Shaheed and Jackson Smith-Njigba. The running game, you have Kenneth Walker, who's played well. He had 3 touchdowns against San Francisco and had a solid game against the Rams in this one. You look at for ESPN for the predictor matchup here, they have the Seahawks favored 59.8 to 40.2 in this one. And I don't know. Even though I'm very high on the Seahawks, I think you got to give the Patriots a little more credit for this one. I think you have to give them a little bit more respect in this matchup here because, again, what I talk about for Vrabel and the AFC Championship recap when I was talking to him, I rave very highly of Vrabel. I think he's a great coach. I love his mentality. I like how he gets his team prepared and how they embody him in his how he acts, how he just I'm kind of losing the words here. It's just how he embodies him, really, of just his personality. There you go. Kind of lost the words there. Embody his personality and how they go out there. They are a great defense. Again, they do have flaws here and there in the aspects, but they still can cause turnovers. They can get after the quarterback. Is it as good as the Seahawks? No, but it's still a good enough defense to win the Super Bowl and give Sam Darnold problems and give the opportunity to Drake May to go out there and win the game for the Patriots there. So it's going to be a great defensive matchup between these two, and to see really more about the quarterback matchup as well as who's going to flinch, who's going to falter. Sam Darnold has been great in the playoffs right now. Drake May, give credit to him for leading the Patriots to the Super Bowl, but has had turnover problems with fumbles, interceptions. So you look at that, and there is a bit worry. There is a bit worry about that. Even though you would say Drake May is a better quarterback than Sam Darnold, the playoff wise and how they've played thus far, Sam Darnold's been better. And can the Seahawks capitalize on those mistakes? Can they get a fumble? Can they get an interception? Can they rattle Drake May a little bit and put the ball in Sam Darnold's hands? And if he can continue what he's been doing, especially in the Rams game, it's going to be very difficult for the Patriots to kind of dig themselves out of the hole that they could potentially be in for that one. But again, I like Mike Vrabel. I trust him. I think he's going to have his team ready for this one. Again, for ESPN to give the Patriots only a 40.2%, according to analytics they have there, I think it's disrespectful. And to me, I really think it should be close to 50-50. Not to say you shouldn't give the Seahawks a slight edge, maybe 51%, but it should really be a lot closer than 58 to 40. Maybe I'm just being too high on the Patriots. I really like him, especially what Mike Vrabel has done. I can't stress enough how much I rave about him and what he did with the Patriots, as well as you could see the success what he had with Titans. He had the number 1 seed with Ryan Tannehill. And he also had great defenses there too, and should have. And in that playoff run, he had 9 sacks on Joe Burrow. And if Tannehill did not suck in that game, who knows what would have happened? At the very least, they'd be at back-to-back conference championships. Would they have broken through and won? I don't know if they would have gone through and got to the Super Bowl. But I mean, the defense did its job. It's just that he was just handicapped with Ryan Tannehill. And now you finally see the question of what happened. What if Mike Vrabel had a better quarterback? You see that in Drake May make the Super Bowl in his first year with the Patriots. So again, I know it's probably crazy for me to say this again, being a Bills fan, and I want them to lose, but I'd be objective. I can't be biased. The Patriots are impressive in what Mike Vrabel has done there. I love him as a head coach. He's a phenomenal head coach. Give credit to him. Now getting into the game, like I said, it's going to be a tough one. I'd be very shocked to see this being a blowout. I really do. That's not really. I'm sorry, not going out on a limb saying anything major like that. But it is going to be a tough matchup, and it's really going to come down to, as always, the quarterback position. Who is going to falter? Who's going to make the mistake? I don't want to say falter like they have to fall apart in the game and they play horrible. Who's going to flinch? Who's going to make that crucial turnover? And right now, again, like I said, Sam Darnold has been amazing in the playoffs as opposed to Drake May. Yes, they're winning, but he is making mistakes along the way. And the only mistake, he didn't have any mistakes in the conference championship game, nor was he really asked to do a lot in that one. But that is the thing that's going to really come down to, because both these defenses are capable of taking over and capitalizing, and put no question being the reason why they win. Who is going to flinch first in this matchup between Sam Darnold and Drake May? It might be wild to sit there. As much as, again, I really like Drake May. Even when they drafted him, I knew that even with his rookie year, when people were kind of up and down about the turnovers and so forth, inconsistencies at times, I knew that the Patriots had their quarterback in Drake May. I knew that it was the right choice, and he's showing you that this year. As much as I feel like that might sound crazy to say, I'm going to ride the Sam Darnold train in the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Seattle Seahawks will come out on top in this one. If you're looking for a score, I think it's going to be 28-24, if I did throw out there. I think it's just the one crucial mistake, and I have to say it's on Drake May. It could be on the running game with Stevenson, Henderson, or, again, interception, of course, on Drake May. It doesn't have to solely be on Drake May to make to have the falter there and have a turnover, or the mistake, I should say. But I do think the Seattle Seahawks and what McDonald's done with this defense, I think they will find a way to put pressure on this offense and make somebody crack and make one crucial mistake there that is going to cost them the game. I really think it's going to be a tight, close game, and it's going to be one of those matchups where it's going to come down to just that one crucial mistake. Even if Drake May plays phenomenal the whole entire game, it has that one mistake, or if Stevenson or Henderson have a great performance, it just comes down to that one fumble, that one interception, whatever you want to call it as. Or maybe it might be, dare I say, special teams in the way too. If it comes down to that, for just missing field goals, as we saw again in the Patriots-Broncos game. That's really what it came down to. In part was the Patriots made one field goal, the Broncos failed to get that. If you make at least one, you tie the game. Who knows what happens at that point down the stretch, or dare I even say if it goes into overtime at that point there. So it's going to be like that, or again, what I really think it's going to be is just somebody's going to make a mistake, and that's what's going to cost the game there. It's going to be that close of a game for this. What Sam Darnold's done in the playoffs has been phenomenal. Does this, could this be horrible timing that he can mess up at this point here? Yes. Anything's possible. Again, what he's done there has been great. You look at the 2 playoff games for a Seattle playoff run. He is almost a 70% completion percentage, 470 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Has only been sacked 5 times, passer rating of 122 for the playoffs thus far. As well as if you get to Drake May, looking at his side of things too, just trying to bring up his real quick his stats for the playoffs. And again, you look at the turnovers, it is a little worrisome. It is more so for the fumble aspect. He has 2 interceptions so far in the playoff run in 3 games. He has a 55.8 completion percentage. A little bit worrisome with that. Kind of got knocked down because of the conference championship, so I can't bash him too much because of that. 533 for passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, as well as running, say at least for lost 1 fumble, I should say, for that side of things. Not multiple fumbles. I'm not I should make him out to be C.J. Stroud and how he played against the Steelers in that one, but has one fumble on the ground in the playoffs thus far and 2 interceptions as well. So again, you do see some cracks in what Drake May has done in the playoff performances as opposed to Sam Darnold. Like, once again, does that mean that Sam Darnold can't mess up in the Super Bowl and Drake May does? No, it could be the complete opposite. Maybe both these guys mess up. Maybe both of these guys don't mess up. But I do think, again, it's really going to come down to that one crucial play for the defense. I'm going to trust McDonald's defense to find a way to make a play and to get to Drake May or to someone else to make that turnover as opposed to Mike Vrabel and his defense. I think what Kubiak and Sam Darnold's done in this offense, especially in the postseason, has been phenomenal. They've taken care of the football, of course, and they're going to keep doing that. Kubiak is going to call up a great offensive play calling for the Super Bowl, and he's going to find a way to make sure the Patriots are not effective at all in this one. I think he's going to make the right plays, or give Sam Darnold the right plays to call that's going to not put him in harm's way because they know what's at stake. And again, if they can replicate what they did against the Rams in that masterclass performance, and it's going to come down to as well, is Sam Darnold going to have to step up and make those great throws and make those right reads like he did against the Rams. Could he replicate that? He can, obviously. He's shown you that. And I think that's what's going to come down to that's what to me also gives me the confidence to pick Seattle is for Sam Darnold. He has a confidence now what he did against the Rams to now do that against the Patriots because that is a really good Rams defense and that's a tough team all around to face. Even though they have cracks as well as everyone else with their falters, but Sam Darnold in those biggest moments could have easily fallen apart, and he could have been the Viking Sam Darnold in the playoffs. At that point, they're going head-to-head against Matthew Stafford, and he didn't. He made incredible. Again, I cannot rave enough how well he played in that championship game. He has all the confidence in the world. He does. And for him and Kubiak, they are red hot right now, and I think they will call a great offensive. Or say Kubiak is going to call a great offensive play. Or, oh my God, I'm fumbling words here. Kubiak is going to do well. Let me just shut up and just put it that way. Kubiak is going to have great offensive plays for Sam Darnold and this team here. And again, they can really just build off of the momentum of what they did with the Rams there. That was a huge, huge thing for them at home to beat the Rams there when there was plenty of excuses maybe to put it on again, Darnold and this team to kind of falter at this point here. You have the Rams, especially at the quarterback position, and Sean McVay having that experience of being at a Super Bowl, being at multiple conference championships, and knowing what it takes. And I think that was a huge momentum booster for them going into the Super Bowl there. So once again, I'm picking the Seattle Seahawks to beat the New England Patriots 28-24. MVP, of course, would probably be Sam Darnold at this point. Unless someone wild happens and the defense, like we had in the last time the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, and there's some person that wins on the defensive side, it's going to eventually be Sam Darnold. And again, if it comes down to him, what a phenomenal turnaround. What an absolute phenomenal turnaround for Sam Darnold if it gets to that point. And if it doesn't, like just the fact that he got his team to the Super Bowl is immense, as well as I said for Drake May. I mean, this is big legacy moments right here for these guys to even make the Super Bowl, but who's going to top it off and actually win it and actually do it, not almost do it, who's actually going to go out there and win it. And again, I have the Seattle Seahawks winning this one in a tight one, and it's going to be very exciting. Once again, February 8th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time at Santa Clara for that one. NBC or Peacock is what it's shown that you can watch it as. Seattle, as of right now, is a 4.5-point favorite. Now, getting into NBA. It's been a while since we talked about that. Talking about Giannis, about, we've seen for weeks and months now about his potential exit from the Milwaukee Bucks and talks about him leaving as relatively early from like a week or two ago is one that he's kind of pushed this organization to make the trade. And we do have that with a team that's come out that's going to try and make a major push with the Golden State Warriors willing to make a major bid for Giannis. You look at this, look on here by Jonathan Savetta, who wrote on here in the Score. The Golden State Warriors want Giannis Antetokounmpo in the Bay Area, even if they can't play right away. The Warriors informed Milwaukee Bucks this past week that Antetokounmpo latest calf strain and potential recovery timetable won't stop them from submitting a substantial trade offer for the two-time MVP, sources told Anthony Slater. Golden State reportedly expressed firm interest in acquiring the superstar forward. However, Antetokounmpo is extension eligible this offseason, which gives some control over where the Bucks can trade him, and it's unclear if he would be willing to sign a long-term deal with the Warriors. And I also was looking around some potential landing spots that people are listing here. Warriors, of course, on this list for CBS was one, as well as the number one spot was New York Knicks. and of course the Miami Heat. And I'm sure you're going to see, as always, every year, speculation about the Lakers can land probably. Giannis, like in every single year, every time a superstar comes up, they somehow have the leading odds or a good chance to land them. However, they have with whatever resource they have for draft picks and players. People, that doesn't mean that they can't be delusional with that, but at least for CBS on here, they have Heat, Warriors, and Knicks. Again, plenty of other destinations for Giannis. And I do think for his legacy and what he wants, it might be time. You look at just the team is not great at all. Of course, they had a great team with Middleton and Drew Holiday back in 2020-21 when they won the World Series, all over the place of sports. I'm sorry, NBA Finals against the Phoenix Suns, 4-2. And it looked, pretty bad early on. It looked like the Suns were going to run away with it. They won the first 2 games of the series, and then they basically sweep them after that, winning 4 straight to win 4-2. And you think, okay, what's going to happen now? Is this a start of, I don't want to say a dynasty, but how many more championships is Giannis going to win in this short period of time? Well, it's not that, nothing else really after that. And to be fair, it's not all on Giannis for that. You could say a lot of things about the Lakers, about other teams as well as Celtics. It has been the last few years parity. We've had a brand new team win for how many years it is, 6-7 years. We've had a brand new team win the NBA Finals. We'll wait to see what OKC does this year if they can repeat. But you look at after that Finals win back in 2020, 2021, what have they done since then? Well, they lose in the semifinals to the Celtics 4-2 4-3 in that series, going all the way to Game 7 for that, losing the last 2 games of the series after being up 3-2 in the series against Celtics. And after that, 3 straight opening round losses, first round losses. They lose 4-1 to the Miami Heat in 22-23. They lose to the Pacers in back-to-back years. In 23-24, they lose in 6 games. And then for the Pacers, they beat them in 5 for last year. As right now, where do the Bucks stand? As right now for the playoffs? Well, not so well. Milwaukee's out of even the play-in tournament. As right now, they are 2 spots down from even making that threshold. The final 10th spot there behind Charlotte. Milwaukee is 18-28 in the season thus far. Charlotte is 21-28 in this one. Again, the last team that holds that final spot for the play-in tournament is Chicago at 23-25. And again, it's not looking good. Giannis, of course, injured as of right now. It's just, again, all around. I think it might be time for Giannis to change scenery. I do believe that. I made a video months ago about Giannis at this point here. You look at his legacy, and especially again the failures since winning the championship. Again, is it all on him? It's not like everyone else is winning multiple championships and he's the only one that can't do it. Other teams are also in that same boat there. Again, we are in a time of parity where we've not had a repeat champion in quite a while now for the NBA. So it's not just a Giannis issue, it's a lot of other teams' issues. And again, we'll see what OKC does this season if they can kind of break that drought of back-to-back champions, and we'll see what happens with that one. As the way things are going for betting odds, we'll probably get another new champion again for this one. At least not to say that a team relatively the last few years can't win one again, but again, a team that's probably not going to win back-to-back for the NBA. But when I look at Giannis, at 31 years old, just turned 31 last month, he's had an amazing career thus far. One of the best foreign players we have seen, no question about that. But even when I'm about to list his stats, especially more for the championship-wise, has he underachieved? It might be absolutely wild to say. I'm not saying he's a horrible player, not saying truthfully overall-wise he's underachieved, but you at least look at the championship aspect. For a guy of his caliber and what he's accomplished, it does feel like that. If I take away the championships right now and I look, recap the rest: 2-time MVP in 2019 and 2020, 10-time All-Star MVP, 7-time first team NBA, second team NBA Defensive Player of the Year back in 2020, 4-time All Defensive First Team NBA All Defensive Second Team, Most Improved Player back in 2017, Rookie Second Team in 2014, NBA Cup champion. However you feel about the NBA Cup, got thrown in there. I don't really care for it, but NBA Cup champion as well as MVP, and he was voted into the 75th anniversary team. Without looking at the NBA Finals, that is amazing. It is. He's one of the best foreign players that we have seen, if not the best. I know it goes back and forth between Dirk and whoever you want to throw up there as well in that conversation, but certainly at the very worst case, one of the best for that one. Now you look at for champions, one-time champion or one-time NBA champion, one MVP in that one, and it's immense for Milwaukee because they've been waiting a long time to win their next championship there. So what he did for that city was immense for them. But again, at least for a guy of his caliber and what he can do and taking over games, it's not enough. You feel like at least two. You would feel like you would look at this and see multiple time champion and not just one time champion for him. And again, at this point here, is there some blame for Giannis in some of these playoff things? Yes, he's also been banged up a good amount of time too, which I can't put too much blame on him. Again, it's just been bad luck there. The Bucks plenty of times have had to play without Giannis in these moments here, so I can't put too much on it. But I think regardless, it is time for him to look at a change of scenery, go somewhere else. I think he's done all he could with Milwaukee. He brought a championship there. There can't be hatred towards him if he decides to leave. He's the best player. I know it's going to go back and forth between him and Kareem. I don't think he's better than Kareem, but maybe some people in terms of the Bucks lore, Bucks history, maybe view him as better as Kareem. Just throwing it out there. Again, I don't believe that, but maybe some people do. But certainly as the one of two best Bucks players of all time. And got what he's accomplished there, putting them almost back to relevancy since he really became the Giannis that we know of. Again, I think he's done more than enough. He's done all he could in Milwaukee. It is time for him to go somewhere else. And again, you look at the list there for the Knicks, for the Warriors. The Warriors be insane. Again, that'd be once again the Warriors landing another superstar player. I don't want to say we have flashbacks to all those years ago with Kevin Durant and that whole scenario all over again. Of course, it's a different situation with Curry, Draymond Green be up there in age. Curry's still a great player, still one of the best there, and as well. But certainly a different phase of this Golden State Warriors as opposed to the prime that they were at that point. But still, just seeing Kevin flashbacks once again. The KD, if we see Giannis in a Golden State Warriors jersey, I don't know. It's too much. It's too much. I think we've had enough of Golden State at this point. There with superstar players on that team. But again, with that, Miami Heat's always connected to a lot of top guys. KD was also the Miami Heat was thrown out there for KD a lot too, as well as other players too. If you look at LeBron James, if he was up there again, maybe Miami be another destination. I mean, I just feel like Miami's always connected to a lot of top guys. And no surprise there. If you want to look at the weather, the city, taxes, and so forth, that does play a role in for guys to make it there. And they've had great players, Hall of Fame players, all-time greats run through be in that building too. So it's not too out of the realm for Miami Heat. Where do I think he's going to go? I don't know. I actually don't know where he's going to land. Again, there's probably plenty of other teams on there. Lakers, like I said, you'll probably see Lakers as a wild scenario on there, even though they can't do it at all. I'm sure, again, we'll have our yearly post of that. But I don't know where he can land on that. I mean, those aren't horrible destinations, especially what the Knicks are doing, to have a guy like that to put him over the top for that. If, no question, you have some stuff about Karl Anthony Towns, that will be certainly thrown into the deal if that was going to get done, no question about that. But the Knicks seem not bad. I mean, they need that one guy to put them really over the top in what they've done there. I mean, they're having a great season thus far, 29-18. They're second in the Eastern Conference overall for the playoffs, and it's gone well for them. It has been. You look at Jalen Brunson, what he's done there. Karl Anthony Towns have a decent season there. You look at Mikal Bridges and so forth. So again, this is kind of the piece that's really going to. We are actually going to win the championship, even though there's a couple of years they've come up short, come close to getting to the finals. This is the piece where, yes, we can do that. You look at Detroit, they're playing phenomenal, 34-12, had a great season there. Boston, 29-18, Toronto, 29-20, Cleveland, 29-20. I saw things I think a day or two ago about LeBron James, about to be open arms, supposedly, or welcoming him back there once again for part 3 for that. Philadelphia, 26-21. So again, they have, that would be immense. That'd be huge. Would they keep him in the Eastern Conference? That I don't know. When you look at the Heat being in the 7th spot, the Knicks in the 2nd spot, would they trade him in the conference? I doubt it. It's going to take a lot to get him, for anybody regardless, but I think more so for people in the Eastern Conference because they don't want to put him in conference, and now they have to look at Giannis going win it elsewhere for somebody. So certainly the Western Conference is a big one there. And you look at for the Golden State Warriors here in the AFC at this point here, 27-22. Curry needs that running mate. I know they have, a Butler who's out for the year with an injury, and again, everyone else, there's not too much going on with that. And that you look at it, just again, it's an aging team. I think they need that youth, if you want to call for Giannis at 31. But again, Curry's still doing his thing. 27.3 points per game, still being the baller that he is. You still have the presence of Draymond Green there with his defensive ability. They definitely need help. You have Buddy Hield. Doesn't really mean too much there. I'm just looking at the roster and nothing, just not a lot going on with them. So certainly that looks like, if you don't want to trade him in the Eastern Conference, this looks like the obvious spot here that you would pair him up with Steph Curry, and no doubt their finals odds would go up hugely for that. They have a guy of his caliber there. Again, Giannis right now is hurt. The timetable yet unsure for it. So again, we'll see how it plays out for the whole Giannis situation. But again, I keep saying, I think it is time. I think it is. He's done enough there. I don't think they're going to get the help needed for Giannis at this point to make another push. I think this is pretty much about it. Maybe he can win it. Maybe he can get to the semifinals. Maybe Darius can get to the conference finals a year. But I think that for this team looking at it and saying, can we win another championship with Giannis? With the team around them, again, the inability to get players around them at this point, I don't think so. I think it's just, we've had a great run. It's been phenomenal what Giannis done with the Bucks, but I think it is time to move on for someone else who get a huge haul in return with players, draft picks, and so forth. You will get a huge haul for Giannis. There's no question about that. Is it going to equal up to Giannis, and will you get a player close to him? Probably not. Maybe you get really lucky once again, and you develop another Giannis type of guy, and you strike gold once again. But you just gotta hope that the return is enough, and you can you can be great at drafting players and developing those, as well as the players you bring in and the role they play there. So again, we'll see if it does actually happen. Whether I doubt it's the trade deadline, but in the offseason as well, we'll see what happens with that. But again, a lot of talks wrapping up about Milwaukee right now. What I said in the beginning, Golden State Warriors trying to make that push, trying to make that bid to get that sweepstakes there. And that's going to wrap it up there for everything. Like I said, we're going to do a quick recap of everything that we talked about. Very brief, very few things on there. We look at the Mavericks. Cooper Flagg scores a NBA record 49 points, the most points for a teenager in a game. Patrick Kane passes Capitals Mike Menendo with 1,375 points to be the all-time points leader for a U.S.-born player. You look at the Nuggets here, they lose Aaron Gordon for between 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring injury, as well as Bills' Josh Allen was reported he played through a broken foot for the last month of the season and was shown in crutches and in the boot in Joe Brady's press conference for the head coaching job, or at least accepting the head coaching job too. And like I said, we talked about, I listed on here, the Warriors are willing to make a major bid for Giannis. Again, that's going to rack it up there for episode 10 of the SportsBruiserz Podcast. If you've listened to the end there, appreciate it. Once again, if you have not seen the previous episodes, you can look at the playlist on YouTube as well on Spotify. And if you liked everything, like I said again, follow me on Spotify, YouTube, and the X, where you will get a lot more updates, especially on Twitter too. I'm always on there constantly tweeting, reposting, and so forth. If you like what you heard, again, please give me a follow at that. With that being said, I appreciate you guys listening to the end or any part of how much you listen to, and we will see you in the next episode.